Muchísimas gracias por sintonizar a Talking Rock en Español. Estamos transmitiendo desde la ciudad más feliz del mundo, Anaheim, California. Yo soy su servidor, Héctor Robles, y a mi lado está
Cristian Mejía.
Y vamos a hablar rock en español. Bueno, muchísimas gracias por sintonizar. Una vez más, estamos aquí en Talking Rock en Español. Por favor, Cristian, menciónanos qué pasó en Facebook.
No es nada mucho, pero primero les quiero dar gracias a todos por haber escuchado y visitar la página INTOROQ.com y hacer el download de Talking Rock en Español. Y muchas gracias al Borde, a la Banda Elástica, al OC Weekly por haber darnos promoción. Pero estaba un muchacho de Chicago que parece que lo tomó, que se sintió un poco ofendido, diciendo que era, si son bandas de Los Ángeles, de que no lo iba a escuchar, pero creo que
pero ¿sabes qué?
no es así.
Se me hizo muy suave que lo haya dicho, porque entonces podemos arreglar esa situación y de que todos no se sientan como que solamente estamos hablando del rock en español en Los Ángeles o en Orange County, porque muchas de las cosas que estamos hablando son por todas partes, que los músicos pueden usar en cualquier parte donde estén. Y queremos ayudar a todos los músicos, no solamente a los de Los Ángeles. Nada más que Cristian se me hace que está enamorado con la ciudad de Los Ángeles, por eso a veces se pasa poquito.
Well, maybe. I mean, I was raised in
Come
LA.
on, fool. You said, I love LA.
I
In
do.
the last podcast, I had to stop you, fool.
I really do, but I know that there's a lot of talent out there across the U.S. And not just in the U.S., I mean, just everywhere in general. Like the podcast, we've been getting hits from the Dominican Republic, Canada, from Mexico, several places in Mexico, which was pretty cool, Jalisco and Distrito Federal. And then I guess there's also another part of Mexico that is just called Mexico. Wow. I don't know the surroundings. I'm not quite sure. But
a ver, tu trivia. ¿Cuántos estados hay en México?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yo tampoco. Creo que 32, pero no estoy seguro.
I don't know. But it's... And you know what? Also Pennsylvania, like here in the U.S. Louisiana. Like it was like overwhelming listening, watching all the statistics. Like, wow, man, somebody here downloaded this, and that. So I know that there's talent everywhere. But I know that yes, I do love LA, but I know that there's a lot of great bands across the U.S.
Basically, we just definitely want to address, I don't know what his name was from Chicago. Well, I guess the name is the least, that we don't want to put the guy on blast, I guess. Basically, we just want to let you know that we're open to everyone, and we want to show love to all the Latin rock bands from Chicago, New York, New Jersey, Miami, Texas, Puerto Rico, or wherever you guys are listening. And send us a message with your music info, your band information, and we'll definitely send it out on our podcast and give you guys promotion as well. We're here as a community to help everyone out. If we offended that guy from Chicago, don't get offended, and just send in your music. Another thing too, we actually had another listener from Corona, California, and he threw a little jab at me, so I'll go ahead and respond. And I'm happy that he brought it up, actually, because it gives me the opportunity to mention this. He said...
That was pretty deep what he asked you, what he questioned you.
Well, he said... He sent me the message asking me, what right do I have to tell him what to do? I haven't made it either. And you're right, Louis. That's the guy's name. He said it was cool to mention his name. I have no right to tell you what to do, but however, I've made a crap load of mistakes, and maybe they can help somebody of what not to do, because I feel I'm a prime example of what not to do. And I'm on the same mission as the rest of the bands, just trying to grind it out myself. So,
yeah. And again, also to follow up that question, if they were to ask me that, I learned through so many punches, man, because I was with a couple of American bands before I even got into the Spanish rock. I had to figure out how to do things, and people don't tell you anything. I am no longer promoting shows. I want to pass this information so they don't make those mistakes, so it can be helpful. so that this can be useful to them. You know, so that's my mission with this. It's not like that's basically where I'm going with it. You know, the whole thing, like what we were talking about last night.
Oh,
I just want to
mention what shows we were at last night.
Well, we did go to MacArthur Park to the Levitt Pavilion to check out Enjambre, and also the at Mal's Bar.
Oh, hold on, I gotta mention something about the Enjambre show. I was a little disappointed, dude, because those guys are signed to a label. They're pretty good, dude. I like their music.
They're really good, dude.
And there wasn't that many people there. Maybe 250, maybe. And I think that, you know, for that level of professionalism, you know, maybe you should have a little bit more support in, you know, in a city where there's millions of people, you know?
Well, you did hear the people from the Levitt Pavilion say it's like, you know, everything is done by a fundraiser. There's no funds. So what kind of media can they get out of it, you know? I mean, that's the problem, man, here. And I guess everywhere across the U.S., nobody really helps promote all of these shows. Or how can you spread the word? ¿Cómo? I mean, tienes como ciertas estaciones de radio, el formato sí es en español, pero no, es como que si no consideran lo que está pasando local y deberían de ponerle atención.
Pero una cosa que si ellos, teniendo una disquera, no pueden traer a más que esa gente, como una banda local va a poder tener suficientes fondos para poder promoverte, porque eso está difícil. Si ellos no lo pueden promover correctamente y son los... y no sé si no lo promovieron, porque también se me hace que hubo una situación donde hubieron muchas tocadas esa noche también, ¿no? Que hubo el Latin Alternative Fest, estuvo la situación de Mario, de los curanderos, que hubo esa tocada, y luego estuvo la de MacArthur Park. Entonces hubo...
Y también estaba A&M, tenía un show.
Oye, y se dividió, a lo mejor posiblemente eso fue, que se dividió todos los rockeros.
Y sabes que tenías, mucha gente dice, la escena está muerta, pero en realidad pienso de que hay cosas que están pasando, pero es difícil de ir a todos esos 4 eventos. Acerca de tu pregunta, si la disquera, ¿por qué no invirtió o por qué no ayudó más en la promoción? Creo que es limitado, porque ellos solo se concentran en el grupo, a lo que pasa internal, y las promociones ya vienen más entre los promotores o las personas que han contratado al grupo acá, porque la disquera responde allá en México, no aquí.
Bueno, pues vamos a introducir a la persona del día, ahora, de Chicle Atómico.
Bueno, es un gran placer de tener a Claudia acá con nosotros de Chicle Atómico. Yo tuvimos un evento en septiembre de 2009 y it was a blast, it was a lot of fun. Pero precisamente me gustaría, la traje que sea parte del podcast para que nos explique ella de su punto de vista cómo fue lo que inspiró a ella de Chicle Atómico para hacer
las promociones
y cómo ayudarle a las bandas. So, aquí tenemos a Claudia y le damos su bienvenida. All right.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today.
A ver, Claudia, te vamos a pegar con 1, 2, 3 aquí con unas preguntitas. Si no te sientes confortable, no las tienes que contestar, porque no estamos aquí para ponerte en una situación negativa. Todo queremos que ayudarnos uno a los otros y no de usar a la gente y aventarlas, como dicen en inglés, throw you under the bus. You know, we don't want to do that. So we'll go ahead and start out with the first question. Could you tell us just a little bit about yourself and how you ended up promoting rock en español?
I was presented to the Spanish rock scene back in like 94, 95. It was a group of friends that we actually used to go dancing cumbias. And one of my friends had, asked us, he's like, have you ever been to a Spanish rock club? And I was like, well, what is that? And he actually gave me, the next time we saw him, a Rock en tu Idioma cassette.
Okay.
He's all here.
Cassette.
Yes, cassette.
Wow.
Yes,
I'm
back in
aging
that
myself,
day.
I know.
No,
But,
no, that's cool. That's cool.
Don't even act like you weren't handing out cassettes
Oh,
either,
no,
bro.
no. Believe me, dude. I wish A-Tracks were back.
But he gave me that and took it home and listened to it, and I was very blown away, to say the least. Of course, the first thing that came to me was like 80s, but in Spanish. That was my interpretation of rock en español when I first listened to it. So the first venue we went to here in Orange County, because I am from Orange County, was El Paraíso in Anaheim. I don't know, Christian, did you ever go there?
No, I never did.
So, yeah, when we went there, it was interesting. And to me, like I said, when I first listened to it, it was like 80s in Spanish. And we grew very fond of the music. We were going there. Another venue that we got to know and love was JC Fandangos. JC Fandangos was also a venue where we saw a lot of live bands. We saw La Ley there, La Lupita.
La Ley, huh?
That was one of my favorite bands back in the day. Still, their music was great. Molotov, Moenia. I mean, just a lot of bands, and it was such a perfect venue because it was small.
So it was very intimate.
Yeah, it was a very intimate venue, and it was a lot of fun. They had stuff there on Fridays and Sunday nights.
I'm going to interrupt you here for a minute, and I give JC Fandangos a lot of credit for everything that they did.
Yeah.
Because it was to me, but I was actually corrected last night. I always thought that JC Fandango was the first person to ever have this movement going on here. But I was corrected last night.
Oh, okay.
And I'll talk about it later some other time because I still need to do more research and get my facts straight. But then again,
even if they did correct you,
he still did, though.
Everyone knew about that spot.
Yeah,
so
everybody knew about that spot.
Even if he wasn't the first one, that was what was banging at the time.
No, but yeah, even though that's what they said, that play was it was fantastic. Because I was always wondering, hey, how come there's always something going on in Orange County and nothing in L.A.? Mm-hmm. And it was like, that was pretty surprising, to see. I always thought that, the rock en español, that the heart was here in Orange County. Mm-hmm. And now, sadly, there's nothing.
Yeah.
It's really sad because...
I think it's there, dude. I think it's there because...
here in Orange County.
When I went to the LAMC this past year, I was kind of bummed out a little bit because I'm like, there is no scene. And then I showed up and I saw these bands, man. And I was like, man, the scene is banging. It's just that there's no proper marketing. There's no support from radio stations. So everything is underground. And I mean, I heard some phenomenal bands there, dude, from even from Miami, actually. I think I let you borrow that CD. No, what was it? Elastic Bond. Those guys were pretty cool. I mean, they're not like full-on rock, but it was very cool music. And, there was a few other bands that I met there where I was like, shit, man, this is really good quality. What's going on with that? And like I said, I think it's because there's no support in radio and that a lot of people don't really see money there. And actually, as a matter of fact, I was discussing this with some guys yesterday at that club at Malls Bar in L.A., and what I was kind of bringing up was that I feel that a lot of people like to throw the blame on somebody else. They want to say, oh, the reason that this isn't working is because of you, the promoter. That's what the bands are saying. And then the promoter says, the reason that this isn't working is because of you guys, the bands. You guys suck.
Did you ever go through that, Claudia, when you were promoting shows? Like where you felt like bands or people were saying, hey, it could have been better if you would have done this or that, or...
And looking at everything we've done and looking back at it and knowing what I know now, than because it was a learning experience for me. That was my first time being a promoter. There's things that I would definitely change, but I do believe it's both parties' responsibility.
Oh, absolutely.
Promote it. I did definitely hear the part where, well, you're the promoter, and that's correct, and it is my job to promote it. But I feel that also the bands themselves should be as dedicated to it.
I totally agree with you on that because it's like, as promoter myself, also, yes, I do have responsibilities and I do want to make the most successful show I can. But let's be real, the bands don't have a huge following, so I could only do so much. So, and again, it's just like trying to make it happen.
Correct.
Where the promoter and the band can have a successful show.
Well,
Yeah.
one thing I just want to throw this out. Sorry, guys, but
No,
No
it's
problem.
one thing I wanted to mention was that since promoters don't see money in bringing up the talent, they're only trying to promote the bigger bands like La Ley, Mana, Jaguares, the established ones that have been around for a long time because they know that those people can draw. But I feel that if those same promoters, I know this is going to offend a couple musicians, but if those same promoters got, smaller bands to open up and, I don't know, make some sort of contract with them, you can open up your, like, little pig farm, I guess you could call it, where, you got to feed your little piggies in order to get them to get big so you can get the rewards out of, having a big pig, I guess you could say, But if you're not feeding the pig, then the pig ain't going to get big, he's not going to get fat, and you ain't going to get bacon. And I'm referring to us musicians as little piggies and piglets, but I'm just saying, like, that I think that's the end of the promoter's end where they need to pick that up, and they have to insert new talent underneath the big talent in order to start bringing up new musicians. The second thing is the musicians need to take responsibility that once, you guys, the promoters, put 500 people in front of us, it is our job to make sure that they cannot forget our names. And I think that a lot of bands, that's where they fuck up, man. That's where, they don't put a merch table. There's no sales. There's no... People walk away and they're like, man, that was a badass show. Who was that opening band? Oh, I don't know, man. Oh, fuck. Yeah, they were cool, though, whatever their name was. And I think that that's a huge mistake on the band's end.
We kind of went through that last night, remember?
Yeah, we did, man. We were at the Enjambre show, and, we're rocking out, and this guy next to me is rocking out, too. And he's all, hey, ¿quiénes son estos güeyes? and I'm like, shit, this guy doesn't even know. There's no sign up there that says these guys' name. And these guys are big. And... I told them, oh, son Enjambre. And they're like, oh, okay, chido, man, está muy suave la música. But that's a huge mistake that all of us, all of us as musicians, we need to make sure that there's no way that these guys can forget our name. I mean, it's plastered. We've got our merch table. Hey, guys, our name is blah, blah, blah,
Yeah,
So,
porque, o sea, aunque el grupo sea grande, que ya tenga su record label y todo, pero así como un ejemplo de ayer, ellos no saben con quién van. Sí, la mayoría de fans eran para Enjambre, pero estás en un lugar donde la comunidad es salvadoreños, guatemaltecos, mexicanos, hasta cierto punto americanos.
it's a perfect place to get new fans.
Es perfecto para agarrar nuevos fans.
Yeah.
Y si tienes tu nombre, hey, porque mucha gente estaba like, les estaba gustando la música. Porque no...
And you couldn't even buy the CD, man.
Esa fue la otra cosa, no tenían CDs.
I
Y la
think
gente
that's a
estaba,
very-
y la gente
yeah.
estaba, hey, ¿a dónde están los CDs? ¿A dónde están los CDs? A
Yeah.
nosotros nos preguntaron que maybe three times,
Oh,
you
really?
know,
Asked you for a CD?
CDs. Y nosotros solo estamos ahí como de, hey, man, we just came to see the show.
Yeah.
Y
No, merch is
Pero-
a big thing that, like I said, in what I've experienced, I think it's very, very important. Especially CDs. I mean, I know that you have CDs that you want to sell, but I think even giving sample CDs, especially when you're at a venue or at an event that you've never been and expect tons of people. Yeah, I mean, you have to have something to be, here you go, don't forget our name. But yeah, definitely merch is a big thing that is definitely should be on the band's priority list. Even stickers, if you want to go.
because they take something from you.
Yeah, they'll know. They're going to be curious and they're going to look you up. And so you hopefully have a website.
You know what?
I mean, Facebook is very common. I mean,
You know what, though? What that does? I was watching some videos of, I think it was Ceci
Bastida?
Bastida. Yeah, I was watching some videos of her, and I was like, man, I really like her music. It's pretty cool. And then they're like, it was with Galería Alternativa, and the guy's interviewing her, and then he's all, so what's your where can we get a hold of you? It's on myspace.com, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, shit, man, that's why you don't want to...
Because you're promoting MySpace.
Well, not because you're promoting MySpace, but because nobody goes to MySpace anymore, and you're .com, it's going to be there as long as you keep on paying the bill, you know? So it sounds so dated to do that looking back at it now, you know? I'm sure that
I
we
think
didn't
one of the
see that
best
one
ways
coming,
to put it is this. It's like this. Your website is your permanent home address.
Correct.
That's where people can find you. MySpace or Facebook, it's like a lease. It's where you kind of go and do your little naughty things, I guess, you know? But definitely your website that's where you need to get the traffic in.
Yeah.
You need that.
Yeah,
And I've seen a lot of it, like especially like in our genre. I would like for them to have their own website because it's going to help them, you know. And that's all it is. It's just going to help them brand themselves a lot more.
You know who did a really good job recently of that?
I told you,
Profecia.
Really?
They have a nice website, really nice. So
And they
kudos
have,
to
they
those
have
guys.
the merch. Like you're like, all right, there's a merchandise right there. There's a video that you can actually watch of them. I'm not into death metal, but however, I could see talent, dude. And those guys are very talented, and business wise, Freddie knows what he's doing, dude. He's also got all these sponsors that you got hooked up with. So I mean, they're doing something right, you know.
Absolutely. But
All right, well, we totally interrupted you in the question. If you want to get back to
but it kind of goes in
goes
hand with everything,
yeah,
though.
Definitely.
You know?
So it all meshes together. It goes different angles, you know. We go to different angles of the question because the bands, the merch is also a part of them at a show, you know. But I mean, like you guys said, definitely merch I think is very important to have, and an investment that.
Well, you know what though, regarding the merchandising, which is very interesting. We had a musician that we spoke to last night specifically about merchandising, and I was asking him. He played a show in Tijuana, Tijuana, Mexico, and he was mentioning that he played a small place with not that many fans actually. Like what? How many did he say? Like maybe 30 fans, maybe were there.
About 40.
40. Okay, so there was about 40 fans there. He said he sold 10 records or 10 CDs there. It was, it was a good night. Out of 40 people, he's 25%, purchased a CD. And he said that was very inspiring. And then you come here on this side and you play.
You open up for
a huge act. He opened up for a huge act. He sold 7 CDs. And you're like, what the hell? Like 40 people, you sell 10 CDs. And, for, I don't know how many, 500 people, you sell 7 CDs. It's like, so I mean, I can see why a lot of the bands kind of get disappointed with that situation, because a lot of people do not purchase the stuff. But I think we should take it in a different way, in the fact that we should figure out why aren't they purchasing the material? Is it that they don't want to buy CDs? They'd rather download it? I don't know. I don't know.
And we kind of touched about this on the last one, but I'll ask you from your point of view. Do you think from a local band is $10 a lot of money, or do you think it should be like $5? Because that makes a big difference too.
Yeah, I think 5
is reasonable, right?
Reasonable, correct.
Because basically what you want to do is you want your name. You want them to take your name.
Out there.
And I mean, I know that you don't want.
Their car.
Yeah, I know you don't want to lose money, but I think you make a little bit of profit even if you sell it at $5.
Let me give you a quick thing though. I think that what us as independent musicians we needed to do is we need to get what I guess you could say the model of McDonald's. Bring a mini meal. Don't sell the full album for $5. Do 6 songs for like an EP. And what that does is it maintains you fresh, because you're releasing 6 songs as soon as you get them, then the next 6 songs, and you're constantly being in the limelight, because there's some bands that take a long time, and I understand it costs money,
I actually suggested that to some of the bands and they didn't want to do that. I think they didn't see the whole vision of that.
Because the problem is people aren't listening to CDs as albums anymore. I mean, that time is done, man. People don't. Like, because before with Pink Floyd and everything, it was like the album. And now that's done and over with, man. People are like, I want to hear good songs. And if you put, like I was mentioning, an EP with 4 or 6 songs, and you just say they're $5, guys, I mean, people aren't going to get pissed off about it, because you're giving them a mini meal. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like McDonald's. So They get a taste of it. You know,
I like the way how you interpret things. It's like, you got
I
a pig.
Great.
I'm into food, as you can tell.
And then McDonald's. But
So I don't know. I just thought that would,
but it's
another
it's
option, I
interesting.
guess.
That's another option people can go with.
All right, well, let's go to the second question here. ¿Cuáles fueron algunas de las dificultades con la escena en el tiempo que estuviste como promotora y crees que siguen los mismos retos ahorita, los mismos problemas?
Problemas pues, no tuvimos así que digamos muy graves. En el 2009 cuando hicimos los eventos, tuvimos 6 en total en el año. Los venues todavía había varios. The problem, I think, what a lot of promoters and probably bands came with at one point, maybe last year, a lot of venues closed down. Local venues that we were used to going and having shows there. And
do you think it's due to the economy situation?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the economy had been tough for the last couple years. And but well-known venues that we all used to go to and enjoy these shows were closing down. So we were very limited as to venues that were willing to give you a Friday or Saturday night.
Okay.
Because that's very difficult. But in our time in doing what we did, which our whole goal of Chicle Atomico Promotions was to have fun and to help our friends expose their music.
Okay, so you basically funded this as just kind of like, hey, let's just do it ourselves kind of a situation?
Yeah, pretty much. The way it all came about was with a friend of mine. She had a band of friends that were in a band that were up and coming into the local scene. And she had asked me, she's like, I really would like to do, I think it being her first show as well, but help my friends promote themselves. I like to do a show. And we discussed it about, we went back and forth about ideas. And there was a band that I knew, friends of mine that I knew from back 2007 that I was like, well, I'd like to bring them back to LA because they weren't from LA. I said, okay, maybe we can work something out. And that's how it all came about. We went to a local bar that we all liked to hang out at, which was Stardust. We'd see a lot of friends there, a lot of bands play, and was able to set a date there. A part of it was initially her and I, but then we also had a good friend of ours that also went out with us to all these shows and stuff. That it was just natural. He just came into the whole thing because he was a DJ. He was also a graphic artist. So it just worked really well. Like we all worked together.
So you put a team together.
Yeah. Initially it was 3 of us. That's how it started. And then we added a few more people.
And this was all, nobody was getting paid basically, right?
No, we were all doing it.
It was just for fun of it.
It was just really, it was for fun and to promote music because we all love music. And out of our whole team, let's see here, like 3 or 4 of them were musicians. Of those 4 musicians, 2 of them were DJs. Mm-hmm. Myself and Erica, which is the person that we initially started this whole thing. We were fans of the music. We just love rock en español. We knew it since the mid-'90s, and we like supporting our friends in the local scene. And this is what we figured. Well, this is our part that we'll do in the scene. Just to help them promote their music. So that was initially how it started. And initially, we just wanted we thought of just one show.
But was there any problems when you were like booking the shows, like that people were turning you down, saying, "Hey, I don't want Spanish rock because you guys can't bring in the crowds that we're looking for"? Or?
No, because the 2 venues, actually, there was 2 venues apart from the one that Christian and I did. There was 2 venues we basically worked with, and they were for it, especially because, out of the.
They know that Latinos drink a lot.
Exactly.
No, but it was also
their goal was like. Have a show, but make sure everybody drinks.
Yeah. Well, the Stardust has actually been very supportive, And I have to say that when I was in my first rock band, it was an English band, and that was my first gig at the Stardust.
In Downey, California.
Yeah, in Downey. It was my very first. And then you had the other place where you were doing shows, It was over at Juanita's.
Correct. In Echo Park.
In Echo Park. No, not Echo Park. Highland Park.
Highland Park.
So, en Highland Park también es una comunidad hispana. So, el dueño también apoyaba ese movimiento.
Yeah.
Siendo él es hispano también. When you were promoting shows, and I kind of ran, in this situation, what was it that bothered you about some of the bands when you booked them? Did they show you like any professionalism? Did they take you serious?
Did they want to get paid $1 million?
Did they ask you for like a ridiculous amount? Because I did, and I like the band, but I wasn't willing to pay what they were asking because I know that they would not bring no more than 100 people.
Correct.
And it's like you got to be realistic about it, Did you ever go through any of those situations yourself?
No, like we did stay focused on the local scene, and
but see, that's where I'm getting at. I was with the local band, also, and
not that I recall. I mean, everything to me was really
everybody was willing to work with you.
Yeah, and a lot of them were like, "Hey, can we just get on your lineup? We just want to play." And that's the thing. It's like something you do up front. There was bands that are like, okay, we'll play your show, but this is how much we want. And if it was something that I saw we could possibly pull off, then okay. But if it was something that we thought,
Were they flexible, like, to negotiate? Or they just said, no, we want X amount of dollars and this is why?
I think what was brought to the table was pretty fair. I mean, I remember someone mentioning, well, we've paid our dues. And I understand that, but to me, if it was realistic.
I wish they can define that, what it means. I pay my dues.
I guess my understanding is, I've been in the scene for 19 years. So
then obviously they're doing something wrong, because if you're in the scene for such a long time and you're still doing that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not bashing, but I think you need to work together, right?
Something else that I think that maybe both promoters and bands might be missing. I always thought about percentage-wise. Like, well, tell you what, man. So you don't lose, because, I mean, I understand that the promoter's putting money up front for this, and he's investing his time and energy into promoting the show. But I always wondered, like, why don't promoters say, well, tell you what, man, if you can bring me in 100 people, we'll give you a percentage of the door, instead of saying, I'll give you $500, work on it percentage-wise. And, I mean, I guess you're going to have a person up there going, sitting there with a little clicker for your band. I don't know. I've always wondered that, like, you could probably make a lot more money, because I had a friend of mine who was another friend that was a promoter, and he did a show somewhere, and he made sure to get a contract. This is one thing he made sure that he got a contract with the venue, and he did that. He said, okay, we're going to bring in a certain amount of people. We're going to get, $5 per person, as long as they say that they're coming to watch our band. You're going to have your guy, we're going to have our guy with the little clicker. And they did, and they packed the house, dude. And the guy was so pissed off, he didn't want to pay them. But luckily, the promoter had the contract, and he's like, you either pay us or we take you to court, bro. I mean, but you're going to pay us somehow. And I was just like, and so he worked out a deal percentage-wise with the venue. And his band they made some good money that night. So I think that maybe sometimes promoters and bands need to stop thinking about, I'll give you $200
together, and
Correct.
that's exactly what it should be, man. Like,
because if you make money, then I make money, and we all make money, and we're gonna want to work with each other again,
And everybody goes home happy.
Yeah.
And
do you think you'll ever do it again?
We've been asked that quite a bit. And because, like I said, we only had 6 shows in 1 year, but they were a hell of a lot of fun.
There was a lot of fun. You know what? I did go to some of your shows, and the one I remember the most, it was over at Juanita's.
I do have to mention something. I really dug your logo. That's really good branding that you did on that, because I saw the logo. I'm like, that's some badass.
It was so much fun. I mean, the whole experience was very fun. And like I said, we have been asked, are you guys going to do another show? Because that was just our whole objective, was to have fun. Me seeing people enjoy the music was our goal. That was our goal of the whole night. And we see that was our reward. And so, I mean,
that could only reward you for so much, until you're like, you know what? I'm wasting too much gas. my
No.
family's
No,
at
but
home.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
like I said. That's why we really weren't like, okay, this is a business thing. Because of course, I think we would have handled it much differently. We just went with it. Like I said, initially it was a plan of just one show, but we had so much fun. It was successful, and just everybody's support was just. I was overwhelmed. I was very thankful, and to this day, still thankful for those memories because they're just something you won't forget. That's what drove us to continue and work together and say, okay, what's the next show we're gonna do? What do you think?
And what were you doing to promote the shows? Like what kind of
Methods?
guerrilla marketing? I mean, what were you guys doing?
Back then in 2009, it was the big MySpace thing. We were on the computer
Constantly.
till 1 a.m. during the week. Like I said, a lot of our team, they like to go out a lot. I didn't have that flexibility where I can go out every night and promote, but fortunately other members did and love to do that. So it's like, okay, while you're out there, here you go, and they're
Yeah, I would see that. I would see them passing out the flyers or spreading out the word and so on. I mean, I did see the team that you had, and your shows were like a lot of fun. One of the things I do remember is how you treated everybody at the door. You always welcomed them. You always had that big smile. I think that was very...
I mean,
it was pretty organic, like when you're doing that.
It wasn't like, it was never a competition for us, like, oh, who's going to have a better show? Or it was never like that. We never took it that way. We never looked at it that way. We just wanted everybody to have a good time. I mean, we wanted to, support the whole community, meaning other promoters, other bands. There was so many bands that came to us and said, hey, we'd like to play your show. I mean, I would have loved to play with everybody. I mean, to have a show with everybody involved, but, you're limited. But, I mean, I was open to, our support was for everybody. It wasn't only musicians. It was promoters, photographers, artists. That was just our whole goal.
And how did you guys decide what bands were going to get on? Was it just friends, and if they kind of sucked, whatever? Or was it like... no, because seriously, because some people are like... Well, I heard of a certain situation that some bands that are bigger, like, I don't want to play with these smaller bands because they suck.
I mean, I could say I was in that situation, but, we just thought we wanted to give people a chance.
Everyone an opportunity?
Yeah. I mean, at that time I was also managing a band, so they were a part of majority of our showcases because that was where I worked with both of them together. I can mix both together. So they were definitely, I think there were 5 out of 6 they were in the lineup. But that was because, like I said, I was also managing a band at the time, and I think it just worked out.
So you did have some prima donnas here and there, though?
I
mean, I'm not asking for names. I'm not asking for any names. I'm just saying.
Never get them out of me anyways. But no, I did. I mean, we're talking realistically. Yes, I would be like, why do you have them? Or I don't know if we want to do that with it. But I was just like, but this is our show. So...
You want to be on our bill.
Yeah, please work with us. I want to have bands open up or whatever that are, are working towards that goal. And that's the thing. I mean, to me personally, I mean, there's so much music out there. There's so many styles and genres. And, to me, it's always been, they might not be all my cup of tea, but I have that respect for them because I see the passion people have in their craft.
Right.
It might not be what I like, but I have, I just see their passion in what they do, and I respect that, and not everybody thinks that way, but...
Yeah. Well, I know you and we did a really fun show at the King in Hollywood.
So
that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. And I don't know. I mean, I still look back and I think about it. I wish we could have done more of those shows.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but were any of these shows very profitable, or was it just breaking even, or like financially? I know you said you weren't looking into a financial end, but how did it turn out? Did it financially turn out where you guys were successful money-wise?
Majority it was fine.
Okay, what do you mean by fine? Did you guys broke even, or you guys made money?
Yeah, pretty much, because apart from, say, gas or band saying, hey, we will pay the bill, but this is what we're asking for, we went into our, flyers. We went into T-shirts. That was a big thing with us. It was like our first show was so fun because we had like 90% of people there wearing our T-shirts. It was really fun. Apart from that, we would go to the bands that were friends of ours and were going to be in our bills. We'd go to their rehearsals, and from there we'd go and watch them rehearse. We'd bring beverages to the rehearsals and stuff like that. Actually, after our first show, we actually had an after party at a hotel. Feel sorry they hated us by the end of the morning because it was we got a hotel room. Another band got a hotel room. It was connecting. So, as you can imagine,
this is a total rock star mayhem.
Yeah, mayhem till like 6 a.m. But it was
nice.
fun.
I hope it wasn't on your credit card.
Uh-huh. No, not at all.
That's good.
But
And what's your connection with Velorio?
Velorio, I met them in 2007 through Los Burbanks.
Okay.
Los Burbanks come out of Seattle. They became friends. I would think at a show, and we would hear about Los Burbanks. Would be like, you gotta check this band out. They're great. They switch instruments. They do this and that, and we'd be like, okay. And
a lot of energy.
Yeah,
there's a lot of energy.
We actually got to meet them the weekend of ArcaFest, and we actually because the Sunday of the ArcaFest weekend was held at Safari Sam's, and that was the first time I ever saw them, and they definitely blew me away because they had their EPs and we were hanging out with them, and I'm like, but they were like, I'm not giving you an EP till you see us. I'm like, okay, because I'm like, so what do you guys sound like? Because I'd see 7 guys, and I'm like, so what do you guys sound like? Who do you sound like? And they're like, no, tonight we'll give you our EP.
Come watch us and then you get
an
an EP. So.
And they're definitely...
They got you to the show?
Yeah, of course. And became great friends with them, and I managed them.
Okay, cool.
And I just think they're amazing musicians. I got to learn a lot with them as well.
The first time I saw them in the show called, it was through CTV.
Oh, and they're the competition.
And the competition, that's where I saw them, and I really dug the stuff. I think your favorite band guy was there, Pitbull. I think it was Pitbull that did... who
gave them his advice, or, well...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I saw them. I also saw, what was that girl band here from Anaheim, dude? They're now with the Aparato. What was her name? Cat?
Oh, Mystery Hang-Up.
Mystery Hang-Up. That was, I saw them on there as well. That was actually really cool because finally some like Latin bands were actually being put on television. So I remember seeing that stuff and seeing Velorio on there, and that's how I first heard of them. And definitely a very, very fun music. Quick question here for you guys. I mean, do you think the situation has changed to where maybe as promoters you could maybe promoting a band through video through the internet is a little more successful than flyers now, or what do you think on that aspect?
Well, the internet is just the social outlet everybody looks at.
Because me and Christian were discussing this too. Because I was mentioning to him that I feel that whenever I go to see bands, because I went online and I was looking through a few different bands, and like I was looking at Los Hollywood, and I was looking at Love Star, and I didn't find myself wanting to click on this recorded song. I found myself wanting to see the live visual stuff, and I'm like, okay, I'm kind of retarded here. Like, I'm a musician and I want to hear their music, but I felt very attracted to seeing the videos up on the internet. And I was thinking, I'm like, well, I mean, do promoters think about that angle, or I mean, do you guys feel any certain way about that? Because
it
as
definitely
a consumer,
helps.
I really like it.
It helps because you want to do, especially for new bands that you don't know.
Yeah.
You want to see how they perform, because if there is, you're fucked. They will not go to the show.
So that's going to wrap it up for us tonight.
That's it.
All right. Thank you once again. You guys have a great day.
Thank you, Claudia.
Thank you.
No cowbell, but...